Right, this is the start of the Python series of lessons. Weirdly, I've made most of the later videos before this. I was just missing the first few. So you'll find as you go through this, my face won't be in it as the videos go on. Anyway, we're going to be doing Python. So what Python is, it's a programming language that it's used all over the world to make different sorts of programs. It's probably the most commonly used programming language for beginners, just because it's easy to pick up. Now, what you've been doing in class, like the Code Combat, maybe Scratch, maybe what's it called, Kodu. It's all using programming logic, but this is the first proper programming language. Same with web design. If you've used HTML, it's a bit different. HTML is a scripting language, where this is a programming language. A scripting language just shows you something, whereas a programming language does something. So programming language is a set of instructions that performs a task. You can make obviously quite complicated tasks. You can make video games and that, but we're going to start simple. So first thing, the simplest program you can do is a Hello World program. They've been using them since 1974 apparently, so Google tells me. And all you've got to do is write print Hello World. This is called a function. It's built in. Anything purple is called a function, and this little bit with the brackets is called a parameter, and you put your parameters inside functions. So we're going to put our word inside it, and it will send whatever you put in here to the screen. So you might notice that it's went green and we've got quotes. That's because the quotes means it's a string. You can use double or single quotes. I use double. I think it's a bit weird to use single, but do what you want. A string is just the programming term for a word. And they're green in actually most programming languages, not just Python. They are not long pieces of intertwined wool in computing. I don't know why. Maybe it's people cheating in tests. Some people always say this answer. I like to put it as a multiple choice question to see who's paying attention, and some people still say strings are pieces of wool, but whatever. In computing, a string is a series of letters. Programming has something called variables. Variables are a bit like, think of it like a jar. I thought this was silly the first time I heard it, but it does make a lot of sense. So think of it like a jar. You can write a name on the jar. We're going to literally write name here. And then anything stored in the jar can be referenced by this name. And you can put a string inside the jar. So let's say your name's Pablo. Anytime you use the keyword, the word name, it will look it up, what's inside it, and it will be Pablo. So if you did name equals Pablo, you can just do print name, and it doesn't have to say Pablo there. It can say what's ever there. Now this is good because what if you need to change the name for whatever reason? You might have a user input, a program that lets you type in. We're going to be trying that today. So if it says name equals input, what is your name? And then this input bit this is what's going to appear to the user, but when they go to type it, it asks them to write out their name. Well, it'll say what is your name, and then they type it in, and that becomes the new value that is stored inside the jar. So it will say print name. So if you type in Josh, it will print out Josh. And that is pretty much it. So what I want you to do is, if you're on your home computer, you'll have to download Python first. Just Google Python, and then go downloads and just get the latest version. From there, install it, run all that, and then what you have to look up, you don't actually type in Python because there's a couple. It installs a few different programs. What you got to type in is IDLE, idle, and then open it, and you get this window. You don't start. It'll let you type in here, but you don't type in here. From there, you go File, New File. And then this is going to be the window where all the code gets shown. I'll resize that. It's probably best to do a half and half screen. And this is going to be the window where you type your code. So before we even do anything, actually, we're going to save it. So go save as. Now, the first thing, I don't follow my own rule, but the first thing you don't want to do is save to the default folder, because for some reason, I know on the school computers at least, maybe in the home computer it's not an issue, but I know they are hard to find, the files. If you save too many files here, it doesn't work. It will, but it will eventually break Python. I'm not sure why. Also, they're really hard to get to these files. So go into your documents, make a new folder. For today, I'm just going to save on the desktop because I'm going to delete this straight after. But for you, you should probably save it on your documents somewhere. So I'm just going to call it Hello World. That's what we're going to be making. And so once you've got that, so you've got your window, you've got your two windows open. You've got this saved as a new name. We're going to start typing out some code. So the most simple thing you can do is print, and then you write two quotes, and inside them, so make sure you got two brackets, and then make sure you got two quotes. You know what, I'm going to enlarge this just so it can be seen easily. Oh wait, that's the max size, never mind. Right, so you go print and then the two quotes, and then you write hello world or whatever else you want to write whatever. And then there's two options. You can press F5 on the top of your keyboard, or you can go run and then run module here, and it'll have to save a new copy. Well, it'll have to update it and save over it. Say yes, and there you go. Hello world. That's the simplest program you can make. If you wanted to make it a bit more complex, take a couple lines, and what you want to write is, let's say name equals, and let's just say, well, write your name. Let's go with, I was about to write Pablo. I'll write that, okay? And then you go print name. Make sure name's inside the brackets. If you do both brackets and the name like this, nothing's going to happen, or it'll break. And then print name. So it'll look up when it gets to this line. Code always starts at the top and works straight at the bottom. So it will say hello world. Then it'll find out name equals Mr. Stroud, and then print name. It will look up what name is, and it will say Mr. Stroud, and it will print that too. Let's just run it. There you go. Last thing we're going to change for this video is, let's say you want to enter your own name. So you type in input. Notice how it goes purple. That's good. That means it's a function. And you open up your brackets, your parameters, and you write. Now, what you got to get your head around is this isn't what's going to. Some people think this is going to show up as the final answer. So look, you're writing the question that you want. So you say, what is your name? And then we'll run this. I just pressed F5 again. That's the cheat way to do it. And then hello world. And notice how it actually stops. It says, what is your name? Okay. So I'll go Mr. Pablo this time. And what that'll do is it will store Mr. Pablo inside name, and then it will print out whatever you just entered there. Mr. Pablo. And that is it for this lesson. Yeah, thanks for listening.